What's up, everybody, man? We're back. Two live streams for you on this Sunday. Um, it's the NFL playoffs, but most importantly, it's the Last of Us Day, the season series premiere of The Last of Us Naughty Dog's masterpiece on HBO Max. I'm joined by Zach, the main man of West Coast Pop Band. How are you excited or what?
I'm very excited. This exceeded my expectations. I had them set kind of high already just because of things I've heard from people that worked on the show, and they were met and exceeded.
Man, yeah, Zach is the most connected person in all of Hollywood. He knows everybody. Um, that's really cool. We got those people working on the show. We got a lot to talk about here, man. We're going to talk about the show. We're going to talk about a little bit about the game, what to expect in the season, some of the cast. And if you guys jump in the chat, join us with us. We're not too sure how we're going to get this going, how often we're going to do this, but we're trying to build a community. We both played the Last of Us games, man. We're very excited for this series to start.
Yes.
So
First off, what a cast, man! Like
what
the,
a
the,
cast.
the cast is just done right. On the top of people that we almost all except for Nick Offerman, who we saw tonight. The rest are coming up later on, but I mean, what a cast, man! I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, Nick Offerman's he's a good choice for Bill. If you guys played the game, you'll see Bill later on. I'm not too sure when we're gonna see him in the show, how they're gonna pace it, but yeah, I'm excited for that casting because that's a solid character. I think they might have teased it with the radio stuff or during this first episode.
Yeah, I think it was. We're gonna have to get into a lot of the world. Rumors going around about what this show exactly is going to cover. Some reports have said the first game. Some reports said they're going into the second game already this first season. So, like you said, we'll see how they pace everything.
Yeah, it's a 9 episode arc. Some episodes gonna be an hour and a half, like this first episode. I can't imagine them hitting the second game. I think that'd be a little rushed.
Okay. Because coming up this season, I do believe we are going to get some characters from the second game.
We can. Okay, so this is where if you guys jump in the chat, this is where me and Zach might defer a little bit because I'm to this point. You haven't played the second game, right?
I have not played the second game, no.
Okay. It would make sense to get some characters from the second game in this show without touching the second game, if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes
But
sense.
it would make sense. Let us know in the chat, like if you're jumping into The Last of Us fresh out playing one of the games. You played both. You played one of them. Let us know, man, because this is a lot to cover. There's a lot to go on, and this is my all-time favorite game. So I'm so hyped to see it on screen. Last year, Naughty Dog brought Uncharted to movies. I wasn't feeling it too well, but looks like they're doing this very well. HBO, I'm proud of HBO, man, to really handle this with care.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's on HBO Max, and it's getting the treatment it deserves. If this was on another streaming service, I would be a little iffy on it. But they're very good with series like Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's some stuff going to Amazon like God of War that I'm just a little like. I don't know. I don't get the feeling that I'm getting from The Last of Us like I got tonight.
100%. Going through the cast still here. Speaking of Game of Thrones, the two main stars who had the craziest deaths in Game of Thrones, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. The one I was nervous about was Bella. Like, I know she killed it as Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones, but I haven't seen too much of her. And I wasn't sure if she could pull off Ellie. Ellie's very specific. How'd you think about her in the show as Ellie so far?
I think she'll grow on me. I don't. It's kind of a different take on her.
Mhm.
It depends on how the relationship with Joel plays out. I think that's how it's going to be, and of course, we just got a taste of that tonight. So,
yeah, just a taste. I think Bella did a good job because it's gonna be tough to play Ellie because she says a lot of crazy shit, motherfucker this, motherfucker that, and if it's not done right, it can be a little cringy. But Ellie's such an endearing character; she's just a great character that it's gonna take some time, and if she can work that relationship with Pedro as Joel, then it's gonna be something special.
yeah, I do believe so, and I think that's why we ended where we ended tonight because we were gonna. That's the journey. I think this season is going to be them bonding.
Yeah, which is hey man, that will separate it from the other zombie shows I've seen like Resident Evil or Walking Dead. Walking Dead was a masterpiece for the first few seasons, then it kind of lost its way. So hopefully they can keep things on course with The Last of Us, which seems like they're following the game pretty well.
Yeah, and let's get into some more characters as well, right? And let me know what you think of the characters and the casting.
My
Ghost
boy.
Rider himself.
I was gonna say, yeah, my boy Ghost Rider, man. I love him as Agent Seals Ghost Rider. He was a Terminator as well.
Yep.
But I think this is a good role for him. I thought I think he really captured the voice of Tommy. And I thought he just immediately when I saw him, I was like, okay, that's Tommy. He played him very well. Did every single scene like how I imagined Tommy. Now do you remember in The Last of Us Part 1? How did they get separated? Because I don't. It was a very similar, a very different take on it. I think in the show.
Yeah, honestly, to be fair, I played this game when it came out, like week 2 of it come out. So that's how much distance I have from this. So if anybody in the chats knows in the comments, let us know because there's a lot of stuff I had to scratch my head and go, oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll jump on this. I'm pretty sure they deferred from the game here. I don't think they were in contact when Joel was still in the, still in the, what do you call it, the federal camp.
Yeah.
The quarantine zone, I'll say. He was still in that, and I'm pretty sure he had no contact with his brother, who was off trying to live life on his own and set up a camp of his own. But yeah, shout out to Gabriel Luna, man. I'm really digging this. This is a good role for him.
It is, and we talked to him at a Terminator event. We asked him about Ghost Rider. He was very passionate about the role. He did driving stuff. He did extra stuff that wasn't necessary because he cared so much about delivering a great rendition of Ghost Rider. He's super passionate about what he does. Very excited to see what he brings to this role, and he deserves a big role like this. He did well with that Terminator, but the Terminator movie was a mess, so I'm glad he's hopped on a solid franchise.
Yeah, this is going to be really good for him, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Game to real life.
Yeah, so I'm really hyped about this one because she's done some voice acting work, and of course she was Marlene in the games. So I'm glad they brought someone from the games to play the same character on the show, and she killed it. I thought she was great. She was you look like she'd been playing a role for 10 years.
100%. If you watch did you watch the after thing?
I did not yet, but I've been seeing they have a little after show, which I'm going to be checking out.
Yeah, it's a little thing they did it with House of Dragons and Game of Thrones. It's quick, but she makes a comment on there about how like she heard that this was coming out, and she was like, "Should I even audition for the role?" And she did, and she got it. And yeah, like you said, she killed it.
Yeah, like she was perfect. There's a lot of good scenes here. Actually, when I started warming up to Bella as Ellie, it was because of the scene she was in with Marlene when she was sitting down there and not interrogating, but she unlocked her, gave her the knife, told her like her background. Did you actually play The Last of Us Left Behind, that little DLC side story?
No, I did not.
All right, so that's where you see it's more of Ellie's side before she meets Joel back in like with her best friend Riley, who they mentioned in the show as well. And we're gonna see her in the show, I believe, played by Storm Reed of what was it?
Euphoria.
It's that Wrinkle in Time in Euphoria, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be interesting. And Riley, of course, as some people might know, has a great connection with Marlene.
Okay. I'm excited. Yeah, Storm has been in a lot of the stuff coming up and the previews and stuff, so I'm excited where it goes.
Yeah. So yeah, this is really cool stuff. And of course, so I'm not too sure who this is actually. I haven't seen. I think she's in a show called FBI or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen her in so many random things. Like, I just can't place it. I mean, I could IMDb it right now, but
yeah. Anna Torv. I have not seen her in this, but immediately she's Tess. From the moment she was sitting down with the what's his name, Robert, who ripped them off in the first scene.
Yep.
I immediately like she was telling him, feeding him lines of bullshit. He was believing it. This is Tess, and she killed it.
Yep. Fringe. That's what she was on.
Okay.
That was a very cool show, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Fringe, Mindhunter. Okay. She's
Been
around for a bit.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed about her is when she delivered that line to Joel, when Joel woke up and she's explaining everything, and even before that when she was talking, it's very almost like Quintino-esque dialogue.
Yeah.
She knows exactly what to say to convince a character to do something, but she has like her own personality in there. I was really liking this character.
Yeah, so another great casting. Like they really did it justice, man. And you can see the game's influence. You can see Neil Druckmann, who wrote the original Last of Us. You can see the influence here.
Yeah. Oh, what perfect casting!
You hit the nail right on the head. Perfect casting. Sarah Parker, I believe I only seen her in Dumbo. I don't know what else she's been in.
Nico Parker.
Nico Parker. Oh, I said the character's name, not Sarah.
Oh yeah, that's
Nico
okay.
Parker playing Sarah. A spitting image of her brother, but this is a great role for her.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the whole thing hinged on her performance, in my opinion.
Did.
And fuck, did she deliver?
It did. So we get into it a little bit there. So if you played The Last of Us, the first game, you get hit within the 15-20 minute mark of Sarah dying. That was I don't think I ever cried so early in the game. Like it was so gripping, and so she really had to come into this and really sell a new audience, and even the audience that was already seen it on like buying into her character early, because I already knew it was gonna happen. So
Right.
For me, I knew it was gonna happen, and she still she grabbed me. And my girlfriend who has not played the first one, she watched it as well, and she was invested. So this is a great job for her. And we get to see a little more of the stuff, because in the game you start when she's already in the house. She already got to watch. She's already been to school. This one you get to see a little more backstory. You get to see the neighbors.
Hmm. I wish I could have found a picture of the old lady here as she transformed too, because it was just this scene. You had Nico up front here, and then you had her in the background, kind of blurred, and you see the mouth open and everything. And
Yeah,
man, it was just good. If you want to get into the pacing of the episode, we start out with her. I mean, she's just like loving, like they said in the little thing that airs after the episode airs. She's the opposite of Elle, and
Yes.
it's kind of the balance that you need for Joel. But I mean, she's celebrating her dad's birthday, making breakfast, just little things that she does throughout the whole opening. Man, it just grabs you.
it does. And like there was some little stuff they were doing, which I really appreciated, because you only got to see Sarah really in that scene on the couch at the end of the night, and to see the interaction between her and Joel. They even said the same line from that really made me and my brother laugh when we first played the game. How'd you get the money for this? I sell drugs, hardcore drugs. That was just like gold. This is hilarious. So do you see that banter between them? And then she makes some eggs. There's a shell on your egg. Their shirt's inside out, and you can see it's like she's really like stepping up and taking care of him pretty much. This guy's a mess.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, just everything going up to it when she goes to the house. Just the reaction, none of it felt like actors. I cannot stand child actors.
Yes.
I did not get taken out of the scene at all. My enjoyment of this episode was because of her performance leading into the whole thing.
It was. So she did her part. I hope, this is something they didn't do in the original Last of Us, but if they start throwing some flashbacks in with her to get her back on the show a little bit, I would not mind it.
Yeah, this is a super dark pick, but yeah, that's the end right there.
Yeah. So, and then that's the same thing for the deaf. Like, I noticed. So let me see. My girlfriend actually noticed. So she thinks the shirt she was wearing was like a Taylor Swift shirt, but I can't confirm nor deny it.
The woman on there looked a little older, so if you know, I kept trying to look. It seemed like an older country singer, but I'm not sure. If you know in the comments, let us know who was on that shirt.
If you have some Easter eggs, you see something that we might not pick up, let us know. Because, this is set in 2003, so that's another thing too. So they changed when it was set. I'm pretty sure it was originally set in 93, and they did a 20-year gap to 2013 or something like that. No. It was set in 2013, and they did a 20-year gap to 2033. So now, for the show's purposes in real life, it's set in 2003 and 20-year gap to now. So just to get a pacing of the show, as far as pacing and stuff they changed, I felt like so when you play the game, your body count is at 30 by the time you meet, you get to where you meet Ellie and Tess, and you get run through that whole village and stuff. You've killed at least 30 people. I feel like the pacing of this, I don't think Joel killed anybody.
No, I think at the end that was his first. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, before they get in the truck here in the beginning.
Yeah, if you want to count that one, and then for human 20-year gap, that military guy. So yeah, like the body count's a lot less. So you see like them taking some of the game aspect out of it, because you can't just run around doing nothing. You gotta shoot some people. So, but for translating to a TV show, you see that. The part I thought was a little too long was that opening TV show aspect it did. I thought that might have ran a little too long for me.
Gotcha. I'm kind of glad they did that though, just to kind of introduce what is going on in the game, rather than just try to like Walking Dead it and try to hint every other season, and you're just like, just fucking tell us what it is, or say you don't know what it is. So I'm glad they put it in there. So
That's
but
a good
I
point.
agree.
That's a good point too, because they actually did say a lot of like key stuff for like what is going on. The cordyceps virus, the fungus, taking over the body. Like a lot of that stuff was key.
Mhm.
Which brings me to the next thing they changed was the spores. So when you play the game, there's several sections where, so getting bit doesn't just change you. You get bit, and if you breathe in the air, if there's been a, what do you call them, a clicker in an area for too long, they start having spores in that area. So
Yeah.
throughout the game, you start putting on your mask. That was a really key part for Ellie because she knows she doesn't need a mask, but then it builds some more character stuff as you go on. So in the show, the spores don't exist.
No, they just did nice touches with it. So I thought it was going to exist because in like a lot of the beginning advertising, especially in the title cards that were playing during the previews,
You
it
can
was
see
in
it.
there. Yeah. And they touched on it a little bit here. Like when they're doing some things with like flashlights, you could see the spore. What
Yeah.
is probably just dust in the series, but you know, the nod to the spores a couple times in the series.
Yeah, you did see it a little bit. I think he was, I don't know if he was grabbing something from like the a tile on the floor and moving something. I've seen a few spores there, but I did see it as well in a few spots. I don't know why I took it out because I thought it was a little cool touch to add more than just being bit. So maybe I don't know if they wanted the actors not to have their faces covered. Maybe that's another game thing they want to change. There was quite a few aspects where you have to cover your face with the mask.
Yeah, so there were clicking noises like the clicker beginnings in this episode, just like here and there. But we're gonna get to more clicker stuff later on in the series. Maybe if they do some stuff with the spores with them, maybe that'll kind of make up for it.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and as far as I'm gonna say it again because you brought the picture.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal embodied Joel. All I see is Joel right now, man.
It's such good casting. He's got the voice down. It's almost like you're meshing the video game and the TV show in the same thing. I love it, and you know, I don't know, man. He's such a good actor. Like, I know you can have your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84, but like he just embodied that fucking character, and he was that character from the comics from the 80s. So he really likes what he's doing. I think he only does stuff that he's gonna like.
Yeah, this dude is on fire right now. I mean, going from Game of Thrones to Narcos to Wonder Woman, like you said, he's Mandalorian. Now, my favorite game of all time. Like this dude's on fire.
Yep. Oh man, yeah, he's changing, and then we see in the town, you know, you get the Firefly stuff, you get the symbols up, and I just got to say, not a critique, but one thing about it is the Firefly graffiti looks a little cheesy in the TV show compared to how it is in a video game. Maybe it's just because I'm playing a video game, but it works fine because then the comment is also made too when they're going over the plans here. Like, it's been so long since we've done anything of notice. We're just graffiti now. And she's even kind of like mocking it because that's all they kind of stand for in the town now. But yeah, once they started doing the game plan and introducing that they have Elle locked up and not revealing, if you play the game, you know the deal, but not revealing it, I mean, that's when things start picking up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm glad they did it that way too, like for the new viewers, and it still gives you a little bit as a person who's played the game. So this is another part where I thought the woman who played Marlene really killed it because she sold me on the Fireflies. I played the game, so I know what they are, but like in the series so far, you see the spray paint, it's like it's a little bit jokey, but she really sold me on like how desperate they were. It's been a 20-year struggle to get over and try to take it to this martial law situation to get the freedom back, and you just see that she's at the end of her wits. And I really appreciated like how she was delivering her lines, like what she was saying, follow my orders, and like just I don't know, it was some really good stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't condescending, and the fact that she did have that desperation about the Fireflies is it adds so much depth to the Fireflies. They're not just like they're called a terrorist organization.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, then Ellie in this scene here. Again, I felt for the pacing, for as far as the game, I felt like they took their time with a lot of stuff, and like they really fleshed out like even the before stuff in the city before the pandemic actually happened, before the 20-year gap.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I felt like they kind of sped things up, like from going from meeting Joel in this area to seeing Ellie to meeting Ellie and taking her on the journey. I feel like that they sped through that as far as the game.
Hmm. I kind of feel like it was just perfect for this episode, though, just because we get to know them bit by bit, but like Elle is still a mystery. So
Yeah, I think it was good for the show too, because like there's so many different sections. There's so many walking sections in the game where it takes a little longer than I suppose an actual cutscene would have been. And like I said, there was some more shooting aspects before you met Ellie, and we didn't shoot a single person. When we met Ellie, they were already killed, and Tess was already there.
hmm I like that they gave the attitude for her though, and that was a very important thing. They didn't go back. It was just straight up, and it was good. And it just plays up too, because in the very beginning they have that chart up when you go and you introduce to the kid that comes up to the station and that they kind of put to sleep, and he's looking in the wheelchair and he sees the chart and it has the timeline of where you're bit and how long you have to live. And you see in his head he can kind of like figure out that he's probably going to die, but that woman talks to him very nicely, so he's kind of at peace when he does die. But you have another child here in Ellie that gets it, because later on she reveals, towards the end, we'll get to that, but she knows the timeline too.
Yeah, and like the attitude was a good part of it, because you can tell like she knows the timeline and she's been through this time and time again. And for her, like, if you didn't play The Last of Us Left Behind, there's certain things that happen. Like you talk about, you do see why, because we did see the first episode, you do see why or how she got bit, and when you do see her character progression, she's questioning herself. She has the attitude. That's like the face she puts on, but like deep down, she's really going through a lot, because she doesn't understand. She doesn't understand like her people she knows is dying. Everyone in the world's dying, but her. Ellie as a character was bored in this world. She knows nothing else. She doesn't know what it is to just be chilling, go to the mall, watch a movie, stuff like that.
Yeah. And they make that comment too about, when what's her name is telling Joel that she got beat up by someone who's 19, and she makes fun of the people that haven't been that don't know how to interact because they were born after all this pandemic.
Yeah.
They do. If you saw the preview after the show, they are going to do a flashback of how she gets bit at some point. So we will get to that.
So that's when they'll bring in who's the person playing? Oh, that's when bring in Storm Reed, because Riley and Ellie were like this. They were tight. That was her home dog.
You pointed out the stuff about in the very beginning when the scientists were talking and smoking way too many cigarettes. They're talking about how things were. This is the best picture I could find on short notice, but this scene where they walk in here and they see the dead on the wall. You can see how well they actually made it look. It wasn't just plastered. I mean, they put layers of like fungi and like mushroom stuff all over it, and still made the body look gruesome. I just got to give them credit for that, and they are really putting effort into how the show looks.
Yeah, the detail is so far been really good. I was worried about that because I wasn't sure what type of budget they would have got. I know it's HBO, but not everyone gets the same budget. Everyone's getting the Game of Thrones budget. But so far, whatever they got, it looks like they're really maximizing it.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. They are maximizing it a lot of the times, especially when when they were escaping. You see a lot of shots where you don't see a big skyline. That means they make a small set to make things happen, and that's how you utilize a budget kind of too. So you're not making this big, huge set of the town and them running across it and having a bunch of extras in the background. But it was just nice choices, and I think whoever is the showrunner for the show knows exactly how to maximize the budget, so you can have cool moments like this. And he knows that the fans of the video games are going to want to see the clickers look great, everyone else look great, and I saw a lot of practical effects that are being used on this, and it looks so good.
It does. Like, I can't speak enough how impressed I was with the show. Because again, we all know the stereotype about like video games to movies or TVs. It doesn't work, but they're really handling this with care, and I'm just impressed. From the moment they started playing the Last of Us theme song and opening credits, I was like, oh, they got me. It's just stuff like that, man. The little things.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're getting to the end of the storyline here for the first episode. You can see that they care about Elle, but it's just, they got their own agenda. Everyone's kind of bitter at this point. Everyone who has been born before the pandemic.
Yeah, and I think this is another topic I'll bring up too, because I think everyone for at least from people I talk to, when you play the first game, you start to like romanticize Joel because you play as him. You're in first person playing as Joel, and so when you don't really think of him as like you don't see all his flaws.
Right.
So when you're seeing this, like when they played him burning the bodies, that was his job.
Yes.
And the other lady was hesitant to burn the kid. He just didn't care. This
Yep.
man lost his child, and for 20 years he's been surviving, struggling, doing the grimiest of things. He's not the best of people right now. So I think we'll finally get to see those flaws come out of him, and like you really get to see how dynamic of a character he is, because he's not a good guy at this point in time.
He's not. He's in a bad place, and the scene that this is right before he just snaps. The flashback scene. Anyone who went through what he went through, I feel that's what they would have done. So there's a lot more to Joel that we're going to see.
There is. So he's ruthless. I think the only thing keeping him from just flat out murdering everybody is his connection with Tess right now at the moment. 'Cause
Yeah.
besides that, he's a ruthless dude right now, and he'll do whatever just to survive. He does not care.
Yeah, Tess is the one who is the horse whisperer here. She knows how to bring him down and keep him calm and take a breath.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean that was a solid first episode. It was an hour and a half?
Yeah, about.
I think we got through some character work here, some good stuff here. Anything else you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the theme song, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I liked it. I feel the opening on some shows now are cut and paste.
Mm-hmm.
So this opening resembles Westworld, Game of Thrones, and a couple other ones that are out there right now about how they do things. So I get it because it slowly kind of like ties in with the theme of the show, but it's kind of the same theme that we're getting from a lot of these big budget shows. I don't know if one production company is just getting a whole bunch of work, but that's my one pick. I like the theme song. It's just the opening stuff with the spores coming out, and it is very Westworld and Game of Thrones.
See, I'm torn because that's kind of how they do it in the game when it starts too. They do the spores and opening like that, but I do see
true.
that like that common thread of this is the same copy and paste. I do see that.
I do like the theme song. I like the music a lot in it, and there is ties to in the video game with the guitar. The guitar is a main theme throughout the game, and then they even show Joel's guitar in the living room in a couple of scenes.
Yeah, little stuff like that. I enjoyed that. And again, we got some early banter between Joel and Ellie. She talked about his watch being broken, her tricking him about the call signals and the codes they have.
Yeah.
So little stuff like that. We got to see some interaction, and it's all gonna flourish, man. So next week is episode 2. Definitely be back for that, man, because I'm hooked already. I'm hooked.
I am too. They have their own vibe to this show, and that's how you know from episode 1. If you can feel something and you can like immerse yourself in that world, that's a good sign.
Yeah. So Naughty Dog, you got a hit on you, man. PlayStation is up. HBO Max, Last of Us is gonna carry it, man. You don't need Westworld anymore. Pedro Pascal is doing the big things right now.
Yeah, everyone is, and I'm just really, really happy that the show is breaking the video game curse.
I am too. So let us know in the chat what you guys thought of the episode. If you got any scores, leave us some scores. We'll see you guys next week for episode 2. And if you got any more Easter eggs that we might have missed or anything future, let us know as well in the comments. Leave a ton of comments, man. We want to keep this going. We want to build a nice community. Anyone who is watching, greatly appreciate it. I know it's a little late for some guys, but yeah, we just got to it a little late. But if you want to jump in, watch it when it's not live, let us know.
Yeah, comment all night, all week long, and then we do comment back, and I'll be up ready to read some comments tonight. So please let us know, like Knox said, Easter eggs, any comparisons, any contrasts from the video game to the TV show, and what did you like, what didn't work for you, and like Knox said, give us a score. I would say out of 5, I'll give this a 4.8.
4.8 out of 5. I don't really have any critiques. I don't want to give it. I don't think it was a perfect first episode, but it was damn near. I'll go 4.5 out of 5 from me for scores.
Okay.
Yeah, they set up so much, and like there's so much foreshadowing. And for someone who's played the first game multiple times, still be brought in and excited to see it, it still feels fresh to me. So great job on their part.
Yeah, the success of the show will determine if it gets picked up. I don't want to guarantee anything, but I will say probably tomorrow morning we're going to hear on Variety or the Hollywood Reporter that it'll get a second order green light.
Do it, man. Green light the second season. You need it. We need a fresh take on zombies.
Yes.
Well, from the main man to the final boss, this has been the Last of Us review of episode 1. Greatly appreciate anyone who's supporting, man. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode.
Catch you later.